Here's our garden this year. This is a patch of potatoes and the bean trellis. With beans ready to pick again. I just picked them 4 days ago. Over there I have a new patch of cabbage that I'm hoping will be ready before winter. Here's a climbing zucchini that I trained up over the trellis. And we have more potatoes and the corn. There's a hollyhock plant that we're really enjoying. I can't believe how tall it is. A couple peach trees there. Some parsley going to seed. Over here's our chicken run. This is a new thing for this year. We planted these raspberries in the winter. They're doing really well. And I have the onion patch, which is being replaced with cabbages as the onions get done. Over there is another potato patch. That was where we had the potatoes last year, and I just left the volunteers because there were so many of them. Yesterday I put a few zucchini plants in there because the potatoes are dying back now. Next up is the greenhouse, which feels like a jungle right now. I put another zucchini here. There's a volunteer tomato that's doing really well. These are volunteer rock melons, or musk melons. I was pretty happy to see them come up because the ones I had grown turned into cucumbers. Surprise! The seeds look very similar. And this is, believe it or not, this is 2 cucumber plants that are just going to town. There's the watermelons. These were seeds I saved from a watermelon someone brought to us. It was a commercially grown one. I just saved some seeds and looks like they're going to do well. I planted some young cucumbers here yesterday. Here's another volunteer tomato plant that we're leaving. Some peppers that are, I'm thinking, 3 years old now. They're doing really well still. Lots of ground cherries that come up volunteer every year. And leeks that I planted in May accidentally. I forgot that they shouldn't have been planted yet and did it, but they seem to be doing alright. Looks like I need to pick off one seed stalk there. Some basil. And there's another volunteer melon plant. Here are my chili peppers. They're doing really well too. And more cucumbers. That's 5 or 6 plants. Here are some tomato plants that we overwintered. Esther transplanted them into here from the main garden, I think in April. We kept them alive through the winter. They're getting almost done now. These are last year's peppers that are doing really well. I picked several last night. We just put another layer of plastic over them for the winter. And then I have the corn patch, another corn patch. They're getting almost ready. There are a lot of dwarf beans in here. James couldn't stand seeing empty soil, so he planted beans all through it, and I'm not sure how I'm going to get them picked. We'll probably end up just letting them dry. Here I have another climbing zucchini of a different kind. At one end of the trellis. The silver beet, or Swiss chard. Some beets. These are the golden beets. They taste delicious. And the parsnips. More beets. Dill everywhere. This area was supposed to be carrots, but after 3 plantings we still only have a few. I put more beets in. There are radishes that need pulled. And I've just added another planting of lettuce. There are the spring onions. A few kale plants. Somebody gave me some seed called scarlet. I like those. Very pretty. Oh, there's a moth. Oh, it flew away. Here I have another trellis with peas on one side and cucumbers on the other. Some of them are taller than I am now. Tomatoes. These are the South Australian dwarfs. It looks like they're not doing very well. It's been very dry. And then the brandywines, and then a whole bunch of other varieties. Esther's been keeping them tied up. They're starting to ripen. We're trying a new variety of yellow ones called Hawke's Bay Yellow. We also have standard red ones. Those will be the black ones. We've gotten a few so far. And another potato patch with radishes going to seed. They are volunteers from last year, from a plant that went to seed last year. It looks like there are some that can be pulled to eat too. And then we'll probably end up with more next year. And there's a volunteer pumpkin plant that gave me an idea. The potatoes that we plant early tend to die back by now, about the time the pumpkins are really running. As you can see, these pumpkins are going. So I'm thinking about planting pumpkins in the early potato patch or around it next year and letting them go over top of it. Because we won't dig very many of the potatoes until after the pumpkins are done anyway. Might try that next year. I planted some corn in the middle of this pumpkin patch because I didn't have room to plant all that I had started. But it looks like it might actually work. I was wondering for a while. There's the rest of our corn. And more lettuce. I planted a few little cabbages in here. And a new planting of lettuce. There I have a patch of tomatillos. A little bit more corn in the zucchini patch. And there's the rest of the zucchini patch. Everything's looking pretty good right now, even though it's been so dry. I've been able to do a little bit of watering. Here's a peach tree that has about tripled its height in the last year. And this is our worm patrol. Every time we find worms in the garden, we bring it over here and they are delighted to help us dispose of them. Beside the house we have a couple of cherry tomatoes. They're both yellow plums. And we were given some strawberry plants I didn't have any place to put, so I stuck them in the barrels. They're doing really well and running and making new plants. They're a very small strawberry, but it's so delicious. We've also put strawberries in these 2 bathtubs. These are a bigger strawberry. We'll see how they do. And this is kind of funny. Right after I planted these, I saw plants coming up in them. I thought, that is really strange because the top half of the tubs is filled with potting mix and compost. So there shouldn't be any weed seeds there. Then I found out someone had dumped some lettuce seeds in. So I've been digging those up to plant. Here's the other cherry tomato. This one's doing a little better. There's our lime tree. It's looking pretty good this year. We got a few limes off it. And a bit of an herb garden. There's some chives. Lots of calendula everywhere. One of the boys planted these coriander here. There's a lavender, a couple of rosemaries. Over here is my seed starting place. I have a couple of peach trees that we'll plant or else give away come winter. More brassicas, mostly cabbage, because the first planting for fall didn't do very well. Here are the lettuces I've been pricking out of that bathtub. Looks like we'll have plenty, and we'll probably give away some. And then this is another garden that the boys were supposed to be taking care of. It looks like it's not doing very well though.